Hello, welcome back to another episode of Zuck It Up, where things, ideas, beliefs, topics, jokes get zucked up. I am your host, Brandy Zucker, and this is Zuck It Up. So, before I get into today's topic, I just wanted to settle in, calm down, and talk about how we're doing today, what's been up, what's been good. So, recently, you know, I've been experiencing a lot of different energetic shifts. Ever since my session with Coach Monarch, I basically asked him to quantum shift me into my highest timeline. And, I felt him go inside of my mind. And I remember the whole time I was like, I had him, he tapped into my energy. So the whole time I felt him tapping into my energy, um, I felt like he was invading my mind. So the whole time, oh, by the way, you can see my reflection in the mirror. I'm wearing shorts and I'm sitting on a little meditation pillow. So that's what that whole thing is about, if you're, for all those freaks looking at the reflection in the mirror. So, yeah, so basically the whole time as I felt him going inside of my mind, I was thinking to myself, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. And then, during, it was more about, like, with that reading, it was more about the feelings and the sensations that I was feeling internally than what it was that he was telling me, because what it was he told me after the reading were things I already knew, except for the affirmations. And those affirmations I have been saying every day, except for like the day after I saw him in that reading. And he sent me a follow-up email, and I responded to that follow-up email saying that I may want to work with him, I may not want to work with him, and that I'm sort of feeling things out at the moment. And I'm waiting for him to respond, and it's been almost 3 days, and he still hasn't responded. So, either A, he wants me to be my own coach, B, he didn't like my email, or C, he's a piece of crap and just didn't want to respond to my email. He's not a piece of crap. I just don't like it when people don't respond to me because it makes me feel bad sometimes. But I know that when people don't respond to me or they ghost me, it's because the universe has a better plan for me. So, their loss. Their loss. If anybody doesn't respond to you, it's not your loss, honey. It's theirs. Okay? Keep that instilled in every part of your heart, every part of your vessel, every part of your mind. When someone doesn't get back to you, it's their loss, honey. It was never yours. Never your loss. Okay? Good. Good, 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 good. So, before I get into what it was I want to talk about, I also want to just address what I did today. So, I decided that, okay, well, first off, I had a phone call about future performance. So, I will be performing at the Brooklyn Music Kitchen June 16th, except for this performance, it's going to be a 45-minute set, and I'm going to be playing alongside some accompaniment, some other live musicians. So I had a phone call to decide who's going to help me with that and the process for getting those people to play with me on that show. So I had that phone call, and then after that phone call, I went for a walk outside. So I live in the mountains at a ski resort, but right now it's a bicycle, it's mountain biking. So I walked up the mountain and I found a rock and I just sat in the rock. And then I saw the mountain patrol come and they rode their golf cart up and then they parked next to me on the rock And then I went up to them and I asked them, "Hey, could I have a ride?" And they asked me, "Who are you?" And then I said, "My name is Brandy, and I just wanted to see what the mountain is like because I might want to go mountain biking here later." And she said, "Sure, you can come in, but you need a helmet." And I said, "Oh, I have a helmet. It's in my house." She's like, "Okay, run down, grab your helmet, and then come back up." And I said, "Okay." So keep in mind, it takes like 20 minutes to get up this mountain. So it probably takes like 15 minutes to get down, 20 minutes to get up. So I walk down this mountain, go into my house. My helmet is nowhere to be found. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's in the locker. So I go to the locker room, put in the code for the locker. It's not in the locker. But I see like a bench that has a bunch of helmets laying around. So I'm like, Zuck it. I'm going to grab a helmet and just go. And I'll return the helmet later when I come back. So I grabbed the helmet, went, walked back up the mountain. Luckily, they were still waiting for me there. I was like afraid they were going to go off because by this time I was like gone looking for my helmet for like 30 to 45 minutes. So I go back up and I was just like praying that they were still there. And they were still there. While they were waiting for me, they were picking up trash, which was cool because it's good to pick up trash that's lying around in nature. And then I said, "Okay, I got a helmet." They said, "Okay, great." And dude, I mean, they gave me like a whole tour of like the entire landscape and the mountains of this area. I mean, they brought me to lakes I never knew existed, and they brought me to this like rickety bridge over the lake that you had to cross, and it looked so sketchy. But then I saw her like run across it fearlessly and like happily, so I'm like, okay, if she doesn't care, I won't care. And plus, I knew that if the bridge broke, I would just fall into the water. If there was fire underneath me, that would have been a different story, but because it was just water, I just ran across the bridge. And dude, it was so much fun. And we were like riding this golf. I call it a golf cart, but I think it was like a ski mobile, something like that. It's like meant for the mountains. And we were riding these all along the trails, and we were watching these mountain bikers like jump off the rocks and like do their thing. And apparently there's a race coming up, so I might watch the race with that. So then eventually we get to this beautiful, beautiful lake, and I really just wanted to take off all of my clothes and go swimming in the lake, but they didn't seem like those kind of people to do that with. So I said, I'm really considering taking off my clothes and going in the lake, and they disregarded that statement I said and just kept talking. And then I said, would you mind if I did that? And then she said, don't do that. And then eventually we took off, but the whole time I was contemplating doing it. And then if we had stayed there for 10 minutes longer while they were still talking, I would have jumped into the lake and done it. But I didn't do it. And it is okay. Another time. So then eventually I realized that my original helmet was left in the ski patrol room because back in March I dislocated my shoulder and I went to the EMS to like get it fixed, and I left my skis, my helmets, and my poles there, and I completely forgot about it. And then when I went back to get my helmet, that's when I remembered I left it there from March. So then after I came back down from this incredible ride, dude, we were out for like a couple hours, like from 12 to 4. I didn't realize how much time went by. We were just like walking around in nature, and it was so cool. And we were up so high, and we went to the top of the mountain, and at the top of the mountain there's this like a bridal area where people get married because the view is sick. And I didn't know that existed because I only come here in the winter time when it's skiing, so I've never skied it when it's like all pretty like this. Dude, this place is so beautiful. You feel like you're on top of the world. So I went back to the ski patrol room to get my skis that I left there down in March, and they're like, how can we trust you? And I'm like, well, I have my boots. You could see if the boots fit. And they said, okay. So I got my boots. The boots fit. This wasn't the woman. This was a different guy. So then he basically took a picture of the skis, the helmet, and the poles that he had, and he's like, "Can you point to which ones are yours?" So I said yes, and then I got my skis and poles and helmet back. And the helmet that I took was a really, really nice helmet, and the helmet that was originally mine is a really shitty helmet. So I'm going to return the really nice helmet. Well, actually, I'm going to ask the front desk if this is anybody's, and if they say no, then I'm going to take it. That's what I'm going to do. Because I believe in karma, and I don't want to steal people's stuff. Because if I steal people's stuff, then karma will get me. So that is not in my repertoire. So I have a list of things that I wanted to talk about. The first thing I wanted to talk about are unspoken rules that we all follow but don't admit to. So basically what happened was I was really bored today, and I said, what would I like to do today? I would like to laugh. So I said, ChatGPT, can you give me some funny/fun things to talk about? And he said, sure. And then one of the things he gave to me was unspoken rules we all follow but don't admit to. And then the ChatGPT gave me bullets. So the first bullet they gave me was not taking the first urinal. And I thought about that, and I'm like, do boys actually not take the first urinal? What's wrong with the first urinal? Are you just too close to the strangers that walk into the bathroom? Like, is it a thing that boys always take, like, the second, the third, or the fourth urinal? Why don't they take the first urinal? Is it too abrasive to just, like, be the first face they see when people are coming in? So that was the first unspoken rules that we all follow but don't admit to. I mean, I'm a girl, so I don't go in urinals. However, one time, I was part of this dance company where hazing was involved, and they blindfolded us, brought us to the urinals, made us sit in the urinals blindfolded, and answer questions, trivia questions about the dance company. I remember one girl asked me what her mom's name was, and I didn't know her mom's name. And when you answer a question incorrectly, sitting on the urinal blindfolded, they would flush the toilet, so then you get like toilet water sput up at you. And we were wearing clothes. So that was the only time I've ever sat in a urinal. And no, I don't think I took the first urinal when that happened. Well, I was blindfolded, so I had no clue. So the next unspoken rule that apparently we all follow but don't admit to are fake laughing. And I laughed at this one because I fake laugh a lot today. I didn't want to seem rude by not laughing, and it was also funny. Like, I really love it when people make jokes. Whether the jokes are funny or not or whatnot, the sole thought that they made the joke is amazing. I love people who go out of their way to make other people smile. Whether what they're saying is that funny or not, the act of making someone smile and laugh is beautiful. So I acknowledged it with a laugh. Was it a forced laugh? Sure. But, it was a laugh of acknowledgement. I think I wouldn't call laughs of acknowledgements fake laughs. I would just call them acknowledgement laughs. You know what I mean? Well, also, like, okay, you know what? If you hear this, know that my intentions are good, and I hope that we can still be friends because I really liked you. But basically, we were riding in the golf cart, and it was so noisy, and they were telling stories in the front seat and laughing their asses off, and I heard like bits of the story, and they kept looking back at me, and I looked like I was listening, but I couldn't hear shit. And I didn't feel like talking that loudly, because if I wanted them to hear me, I would have had to scream. So I just pretended that I heard everything, and I went along with it. Because what would have been better, doing that or just no, I think it was fine. I think it was fine. I think I handled that situation amazingly. Because I really did want to hear what they were saying. I just kept hearing like little glimpses of the funny story. But also, like, the things that I laugh at are usually, like, pretty crazy things. Also, it depends on my mood. If I'm in a funny mood, then anything can make me laugh. Then this, like, not taking the first urinal thing will make me laugh because I'm in a funny mood. But if I'm in, like, a sad mood, then it's going to take Nathan Fielder to make me laugh. Nathan Fielder makes me laugh when I'm in a sad mood. That's the kind of funny that I like. Anyways, so fake laughing. I also fake laughed on the phone today. But it wasn't, okay, I keep saying that I'm fake laughing. They're acknowledgement laughs. They're not fake laughs. But I think I need to realize, there's been people in my life who have made jokes to me, and I didn't find them funny, and I did not laugh. So, I'm not a fake laugher, okay? If I laugh, it's a real laugh. Unless it's a laugh of acknowledgement. Because I'm a kind of person. But it's also important to understand that you can still be a kind person and not laugh at people's jokes. I think if you don't laugh at people's jokes, that doesn't make you a mean person. That doesn't make you like a bully. If you don't laugh at people's jokes, that does not make you a bully. Okay? It just means that they need to work on their sense of humor. Okay? So fake laughing is another unspoken rule that we all follow but don't admit to. Unless you're me, because I don't fake laugh. I do acknowledgement laughs, and I let people know when they're actually funny to me. I think also, it's different with the new people. Like, if you're meeting someone for the first time and you don't know how crazy or authentic you can be with them yet. I mean, it's always important to be authentic, but sometimes my authenticity is like kind of crazy. So I don't want to scare people off because I want to be good relationships. I mean, I always have a good heart and I have a good soul. So I think no matter what I do, I know I'm a good person. So if some people might like it, some people might not, and that's okay. As long as I'm being true to myself, because I know that I'm a good person. So the last unspoken rule I have on my list that we all follow but don't admit to is pretending to text in awkward situations. I have done this before. I have pretended to text in awkward situations before. Yes, I have. So the last time I pretended to text in an awkward situation was when I was volunteering on a mountain, and it was me, a guy, and a girl, and we were all sitting on the mountain. We were all sitting at lunch, and I didn't feel like talking because I felt like I was getting manipulated at the time, so I felt like no matter what I would say, like, one of the people would try to twist it up what I was saying, so I just felt like nothing to say was best, so then I pretended to, like, use my phone at that time. That's what that was about. But other than that, I don't think I pretended to text. I think I pretended to text at that time because I just didn't want to talk to that person. So, but I usually love awkward situations. In fact, I'm usually the one that creates the awkward situations. So do you want to hear an awkward situation that I created recently? Okay, great. So I was swimming in the pool recently. So I live in a condo at a resort at the current moment. I love it here. The nature is beautiful. It's great. There's a pool that we all use, right? There was a couple. They were swimming in the pool. Well, no, they were just talking in the pool. Um, they were older. They were in their 60s. They were just, chilling in the pool. They went over to the hot tub. They came back to the pool, chatting it up. And I was just swimming, doing my own thing. And then, I think to myself, like, these were like some older people. Like, and I say this like, like when you can tell people are like still in the matrix, they were still in the matrix. So, I had this idea pop in my head where I basically would say, imagine if I just went up to I don't know where this idea came from, but basically I thought to myself, oh, we were all in the pool, just the three of us. We never, like, I've seen them before around, but all we say is hi. So basically I thought to myself and I said, imagine if I go up to that older woman and I just tap her and I say, tag, you're it, and I swim over. Like, I pretend I'm in Impractical Jokers, but it's just me. So I thought to myself, imagine if I go up to that woman and I say, tag, you're it, and then I swim away. And then, and then I thought to myself, no, I can never do that. That would be so awkward. But then I'm like, what's the worst that will happen? And then I thought about the worst that would happen. And basically she would just say no thank you. So I'm like, okay, that's the worst that will happen. And the best that would happen is that we play a game of tag. And I was in a playful mood. I wanted to play a game of tag really, really badly. I fucking love tag. Tag is so much fun. I don't like Marco Polo because we all end up opening our eyes a little bit anyway, so we might as well just call it tag you're it. So basically, they're talking, they're having their little date, and I go up to them and I say, hey, and I say, do you guys want to play a game? And they say, or the guy says, oh, what game? And then I go up to the woman and I touch her shoulder and I say, tag, you're it, and then I swim away. And then the woman goes, I don't think I could play that game. And then I say, I win! And then the man goes, you won! And I said, yes! And then I just swim away. And then I swim away. And then they continued talking, so then I continue swimming and just doing my own thing. So then I go up to them, I said, so, are you guys here on vacation? And then we spoke of a conversation, and it turns out he was like the event organizer, like the man in this relationship was the event organizer of this like school, of this like college. So they're like pretty important people I invited to play a game of tag with. Their loss would have been a fun game of tag, because I am such a fast swimmer. Ever since I've been living with this pool, I've been going swimming every single day. I'm a fucking mermaid. I'm a fucking dolphin. Like, basically what I do, so the pool is shaped like a rectangle. I go the hamburger way of the rectangle, and I put my feet up against the wall. I push off the wall, and I see if I can reach the other end without paddling my arms or legs. I just see how far my body can shoot across the hamburger length of the pool. and I get about 2 feet away from the other side of the pool, meaning I can shoot just with the power of my legs all across the pool, and it's a big pool, and the hamburger lane is big, and I get all the way across with just 2 feet left in between me and the wall without paddling. And soon enough, I'll be able to go the whole length without having to paddle with my arms or legs. That's how good of a swimmer I am. Also, I stay underwater for so long, and I sit at the bottom of the pool. And also, I've been jumping in the pool without plugging my nose. I've been practicing doing flips and stuff without plugging my nose. And sometimes I regret it because sometimes the water still goes up my nose. But when it doesn't go up my nose, bro, I feel like I'm a professional swimmer. I don't need no life jacket. The only reason I would need a life jacket was if I was surfing a 100-foot wave in the ocean. So there's a TV here. They have about 100 channels on there. No DVR, no nothing. I'm not a big TV watcher, but when I'm escaping my realities, I watch TV. I'm not saying watching TV is a bad thing. I love TV. Just in small doses, not overdoing it. So sometimes at night, I'll put on this TV, and I'll go to channel, 80? Channel 80. It's HBO, and they have a show called The 100-Foot Wave. There's this man on that TV show. His name is Garrett McNarty, something like that. And he's like the main guy of this biggest wave in the world surfing contest. And it just shows videos of these men and some women surfing the biggest waves in the world at Nassari and Portugal, Spain, and Hawaii, and all over the world. They're just surfing these 100-foot waves. And I know when you speak about 100-foot waves, like, oh wow, 100 feet, that's pretty tall. But when you see it, I mean, they're as tall as houses, and there's just waves crashing on you. And, a lot of the times they get wiped out. And when you get wiped out by 100-foot waves, like, you better expect something to be broken. You better be expecting to be held underwater for, like, minutes. Like, you better know what you're doing if you're surfing on 100-foot waves. And, like, these surfers, they wear, like, these little life jackets when they surf. But when you surf a 100-foot wave and you don't get annihilated, apparently it's, like, the most life-changing experience in the entire world. Like, there's nothing that exists other than you and the wave you're surfing. And I'm not a surfer, but I want to be a surfer because you can just feel what they're feeling when they're surfing. Like, I can feel what people are feeling, and, like, when I watch these videos of people, like, what they feel when they're surfing, you can just tell, like, their whole life is just running on a different level of presence and meaning than, like, the average person's life. Like, a lot of people thrive when they're just, like, on land doing what they do, but these people thrive when they're in the ocean surfing. Like, there's nothing else in their reality that matches the feeling of surfing. So it makes me think, what in my reality doesn't match the feeling of, like, what I love to do? And I think that's dancing. I think for me, dancing is like their surfing. I mean, obviously, like, when you're actually good at surfing, there's, like, nothing that can compare to the feeling of surfing, which is, like, and I've been surfing before, and I don't like paddling out, because when you paddle out and the waves are huge, like, you just get annihilated by the waves. Sure, the surfing is fun, and sure, it's all worth it, but, like, you have to really, like, not care about, like, getting annihilated by waves. And I'm so sensitive to, like, the pressure of the waves. I just wish I didn't have to paddle out, and I wish that, like, getting tackled by waves wasn't part of the process. And I think it's, like, those reasons that makes surfing so much more rewarding, because, like, when you, like, get past all of that and you hit that wave and it feels good, I think it makes it all worth it. But I don't surf enough, and I don't live by oceans enough to make all of that worth it. So, like, the times I'm due by the oceans, I just want to, like, enjoy it. But I've had one surfing lesson in my life, and I've caught a wave before, and it was cool. but I don't feel like the wave that I caught out was that transformative that it made all the tackling and drowning and water up the nose worth it. You know what I mean? If you're a surfer, no, you don't know what I mean. But if you're not a surfer, you do know what I mean. So those are my thoughts about the show 100-Foot Wave. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I watch that show when it's on. I actually didn't watch TV last night, and that was really good. I feel so much more clear today. Learning how to, put myself to bed properly and shutting off electronics and, stopping eating before going to bed. Those are all things that make for a happier and healthier life. And a happy and healthy life is what I live for. So when you have a happy and healthy life, then you feel good about waking up in the morning and doing day-to-day things. So I like waves, and I like watching people surf, and I wish that I was good at surfing, because I know that when you do like surfing, it's like you don't like it, you are it, it's religion. And I like things that are so much fun that people just make it a religion. That's how I feel about music. But the thing is, like, I don't want to, like, chase stuff. I want to attract it. So I think with this whole energetic shifting process, I'm allowing more. I'm expanding my version of what it means to be me, and the more I tap into my authenticity, the more I attract things that are actually meant for me. And music is something I love, dancing is something I love, and at the moment, I can't wait to dance again. And at the moment, I'm waiting to get a steady income going for myself so I can attract opportunities, so I can live in the city or drive to the city and take more dance classes. Because sometimes I don't feel like driving to this. I mean, I live like an hour and 30 minutes, and it's like, I love dancing, and I do make the drive when I feel like it. We'll see what happens. I do plan on moving to this city at some point, for sure. But I also love nature, and I feel like nature brings me so much grounding, so much peace. So it's like, how would I find that grounding and peace and oneness with all if I'm living in the mayhem of the city? So that's what I'm thinking about. I just wish New York City had more nature, and I wish it wasn't so compact. And I think that's why I like LA, because like there's the ocean and there's dancing. And also, I like having my own farm and growing all my own foods. So I think there's something really nurturing about like eating foods from your garden, from Mother Earth, from being in tune with yourself and energy and your intuition that way. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? What's my priority? Dancing and music and all that, or staying in tune with with Mother Earth and being around nature and all that. I mean, there's so many things I love to do. I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to act. I love to paint. I love to do makeup. I love to ski. I love to hike. I love to bicycle ride. I love to run. I love to do jujitsu when I don't feel like I'm dying. I like to surf. I like to paddleboard. I mean, there's just so many things I love to do. How am I supposed to choose one? How am I supposed to choose one? What am I, Dr. Evil? No. I don't know where the frick that came from. Water break. The next thing I have on my list is, well, okay, before I move to that, I want to think to myself, are there any other unspoken rules that I can think of right now that we all follow but don't admit to? Unspoken rules that we all follow but don't admit to. Yeah, I mean, like so many times today I walked past people and they say, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? That's a rule. We all say, hi, how are you? But instead, like, what if you just, like, said, yucky doo! Instead of saying, how are you? Like, it's a rule that you say, how are you? You know? And I think it's important to say, how are you? Because, like, what if they're a person that you like? You wouldn't know if you say, yeah, you know what I mean? Unless they say that to you back, and then maybe that's just what you do. So that's another unspoken rule. I think there's like endless unspoken rules that we all do but don't admit to. So the next thing I have is celebrities I would trust to babysit my kids. So the first celebrity that came to mind that I would trust to babysit my kid. So there's this girl I follow on TikTok, except I don't know her name. I forget her name, so because I forget her name, I wouldn't trust her. Funny enough, the first celebrity that came to mind that I would trust to babysit my kids, well, I don't have kids. Okay, I'll say my dogs. Is Chapel Roan. I feel like I would trust Chapel Roan. I feel like she loves animals and children, and I feel like she would do a good job with that. So, Chapel Roan, I would trust you. Anybody else? I would trust Steve Carell. I would trust Steve Carell, and I would trust Chapel Roan. If my pets had a podcast, what would it be about? Well, I have two pets. So, if Lana had a podcast, her podcast would be about rolling in the dirt and smelling bad, and she would talk about all like the gross smells that she rolled into, and she would like talk about like the dogs and the animals' peas that she rolled into and the dead animals that she rolled into, and she would talk about how the benefits of all the dead things that she rolled into and what she loves about it, what type of animals she prefers to roll into, and like what kind of peas her favorite things to roll into, her least favorite things to roll into, but still does because she loves rolling into things that smell bad. And her podcast would also be like about why she likes to sleep on my bed, why she likes to sleep on people's beds, and no matter how many times you take her off the bed, she always goes back on the bed. She would talk about her love for doing that. And if Tucker had a podcast, he's my other dog. His podcast would be about um, getting our attention. Like if we're busy doing our things, he just barks at us until we like do what he wants. And sometimes I ignore the barking, and sometimes it'll take like 5 minutes of ignoring him bark for him to just be like, "Rah," and walk away. So, because it turns out like when I do abide by his needs when he barks at me for that long, he usually ends up just wanting cuddles or a treat. And he can be ignored, and it's okay. It's okay if we ignore him. I think Tucker's podcast would also be about, oh, well, going back to Lana's podcast, it would be about the types of dogs she likes to bark at. My Pomeranian loves to bark at dogs. That's like her favorite thing to do. She loves to bark at dogs, especially the bigger dogs that intimidate her. And Tucker's a little bitch boy, and he just does whatever Lana does. So if Lana's barking, he's barking. Um, so Tucker Tucker would also be about like how he's gonna find his strength to be his own boss of his own life, and he doesn't have to keep doing what Lana does. That's what his podcast would be about. Also, one time I fell asleep next to my dog Tucker, and I heard like a male voice say to me in my sleep, "I am happy." And then I looked at Tucker, and I'm like, "Tucker, did you just like psychically tell me that you're happy?" And I think he did. So that just made me think about this time when I was living on the farm, and the people who owned the farm had a pet cat who they named Courage, and then that cat Courage came to the farm owner in the dream and told him that he said in the dream, "My name isn't Courage, it's Chauncey." And I thought that was so funny. Like, because even if your name is Chauncey, what if you want to switch it for Courage? That's just like admitting that you're not a courageous person, that you're not a courageous cat, like a little bitch cat. And it's true because like there were other male cats, and they were so territorial. They made him live on the other side of the farm, like away from everything, which is kind of sad. But at least like he owns that he's not a courageous person, and he lets the other male cats walk on top of him. Like that's just his destiny, and he didn't want to change. That's just who he was, and he was okay with it. Are there people that are just like at peace with not being courageous? I guess so. I think everybody's courageous in their own ways. I think there's different levels of courageousy. Like sometimes I think to myself, "Oh my god, imagine if I did that." And I say that as if like I wouldn't do it, but then like I have another thought that says I've lived a whole life where I think, imagine if I did that and I didn't do it. So I'm like, and I'm always looking to elevate. So sometimes I just do whatever it is that I'm imagining, and then I just do it and see what happens. And usually it's not that bad, and usually it doesn't get me in trouble unless I'm with my parents, which is why I don't speak to my parents right now. Oops! Okay, so the next thing I have on my list of fun slash funny things to talk about is would you rather. So what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to think of the craziest would you rather questions, and I want you to answer those would you rather questions in the comments of this podcast video. And as you type your answers, I'm going to provide you my answers to these questions as well. So the first would you rather question is, would you rather watch your parents have sex every single day for the rest of your life, or would you rather join in once? That's the sickest would you rather question ever. I hate that question so much. But for some reason, it's so sick that it's stuck in my head whenever the would you rather questions come up and I ask it. So, it was either do this, or die. If we were in some sick world where you either die or do that or that, um, I wouldn't answer it. Would you? Comment your answer if you had to choose. Now think of like a more realistic one. Would you rather climb a tree and sit in the tree for 1 hour, or find a really big grassy hill and just roll down the hill until you get to the bottom? Put your answer down below and comment why you would choose your answer too. I want to know. Obviously, it depends. So if you're saying it's like the best, most comfortable tree and it's like the best hill, and it also depends on the mood you're in, if you're in a sitting mood or rolling down the hill kind of mood. I would sit in the tree because I don't want to get dizzy. I don't like getting nauseous and headaches and that. So I would sit in the tree. Because also when you sit in the tree, you can talk to the tree and you can ask the tree questions, and whenever you ask the tree answers and you listen or feel for an answer, the tree always gives you an answer, and it's so cool. So that's why I would choose to sit in a tree. There are these trees outside of my house, and they're growing these like beautiful purple little leaves, and they're so beautiful. And I talk to the trees every morning, and I put my hand on the tree and I say, "How are you, tree? Good morning." And I say, "Tree, do you think I should do blah 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 blah?" And then it gives me an answer. So that's why I would choose to sit in a tree. The trees just told me that I need to slow down and enjoy life more at a slower rate. Right. Do you think that sloths are the happiest animals in the world because they enjoy life so much that they do everything so slowly? Imagine sloths actually move at like normal pace, but because they like they like the present moment so much, they like go as slowly as possible because they just love life so much. But like, imagine sloths actually have like the conscious choice to like go faster if they want to. Imagine sloths are actually like monkeys. Imagine like, wouldn't that be crazy? Imagine monkeys are in the Matrix and sloths are the ones that escape the Matrix. And then once you realize that um, you like moving slowly, then you start to like grow that white fur and you just start to look like a sloth. You morph into a sloth. That is my theory with sloths. So, my next would you rather question is, would you rather skydive or would you rather bungee jump? Yes, those are both very similar would you rathers. I would rather skydive because they're both dangerous in their own ways. I think skydiving and bungee jumping are both equally as dangerous. So since they have like the same level of dangerousness, why not go for the more exciting one, which is skydiving? Skydiving looks sick. I feel like skydiving is the same level of like beauty as surfing. Like I feel like people who live to surf also like can feel that same thing with skydiving. Except skydiving, you don't have to like be a professional swimmer to be good at it. Like anybody can skydive. I plan on going skydiving at one point, but I'm only gonna go skydiving like if I feel really aligned and all my fears of skydiving left. Because the only reason I've developed a fear of skydiving is because my mom told me that her her doctor's friend went skydiving and died. So I'm like, I don't want to die skydiving. So ever since she told me that story, I've had that like stupid fear of skydiving in my head. So, and I know it's so silly. I mean, we can die anyways. There's so many like you could die just driving a car, you know. So if I do go skydiving, um, universe, I'm setting an intention to co-create an experience with you where I land immaculately, okay? Thank you, please, and thank you. And I will use this to um, do good because I trust that my angels are with me and will help me with that experience if I choose to ever go skydiving. So, I also wanted to talk about stuff that I thought was true as a kid. The first thing I thought was true as a kid was quicksand. Like, you know, when you watch movies and stuff and there's quicksand. I think I've been in quicksand like situations and I was able to get out of it. But, like, honestly, when are we ever in a dilemma where we're going to run into quicksand? Quicksand sounds so scary, though. It's just like a lake of mud. You just, like, get sucked into. Another thing I thought that was true as a kid was teachers living at school. You know, sometimes it's hard to imagine teachers in their home having a home life because you know they're so professional, and then you just imagine like a teacher at home like taking a bath or a shower or like cooking dinner for themselves and their kids and their husbands and going to the bathroom and walking their dogs. Like, can you imagine your teacher who you have to like ask questions by raising your hand to like doing the stuff that we do at home? You know, we're like forced to like treat these teachers like they're gods, but meanwhile they're just as like us. That's just their job. So, a last would you rather question is: would you rather shoot a 1 hour podcast episodes of things like this or take a yoga class? And honestly, I would rather shoot a podcast episode like this than take a yoga class because I'm I decided to do another 3 day fast to reset my system. Anytime I go on like it's like sometimes I'll fall into funks where I treat my body like shit, which that's the old me. I don't do that anymore. And every time I do a 3 day fast, it puts me in the reset mode to like retain a new level of balance where I treat my body with love and care and compassion, and I treat the meals I eat as medicine, as healing medicines, not as you know, sometimes every time I would eat a meal I would feel shame whenever I ate, no matter if it was healthy or bad. But now I look at a meal and I treat it like okay, when that says 6 minutes, I'm good. Sometimes my computer cuts out like that. So now I'm learning how to, you know, treat my food like medicine. Um, yeah, so I think just learning that food isn't something to treat negatively. Food is something to bless and bring gratitude towards. And also, like, when you eat and you're just eating for boredom, that's just like kind of being selfish in ways. You know, why, like, I mean, food is meant to be cherished and nurturing and healing and comforting and energy providing. But when you already have energy and you're abusing food, then you're going to develop an abusive relationship to food. And people are meant to be nurtured, cared for, loved for. But when you're using people to abuse them, then you're abusing yourself. And I think that goes with anything that have energy. People have energies. You can't abuse energy. You must treat energy with love and care because we are energy. So when you treat yourself with love and care, you treat all energies with love and care and gratitude. When you're grateful to be you, you treat everything else with gratitude to be you. And, that's something I'm learning. Sometimes, we're human too, and sometimes we make mistakes, and sometimes through those mistakes we forget. And I think something we can ask the universe or something we can ask God to is, can you instill in my mind this remembrance so I never forget these facts about myself? Because I don't like it when I forget, because it brings me back into a person that I'm letting go of. So help me remember these beautiful facts about who I am and what life's about so I never forget, okay? So that's something that I ask for, to never forget what we truly are. So I hope you found this super entertaining. I had a really, really good time talking about these silly topics with y'all. My video cut out at 54 minutes, and I usually set the timer for 1 hour, and I just talk and I see what comes up for about an hour. So 54 plus 6 is 60 minutes. So when the video cut off at 54 minutes, I stopped it and I pressed play. So when this new video hits 6 minutes, then that is when I will say my final goodbye. Final goodbye. My sister asked me yesterday if I wanted to hear her song that she wrote. Okay, first of all, she didn't write it. My mom wrote it. And my sister plays Miss Rachel, this character for babies for my parents' company. And she recorded a song as Miss Rachel, a goodbye song. And she's like, do you want to hear the goodbye song for Miss Rachel that I recorded the other day? And I was like, no, I don't. No. If my sister came to me and she said, do you want to hear a song that I wrote for myself? Sure. If she came to me and she said, do you want to hear a song that I wrote? Sure. I guess I'm hard in that way. I'm hard in other ways too. I'm a hard mother trucker. I'm such a hard mother trucker that not even another truck could crash into me and leave a dent. 'Cause that's how hard of a mother trucker I am. You feel feel you. And I love feeling you, 'cause you feel like soft, gushy fur that I just love to roll my face into. That's how soft you are, and that's how much I love feeling you. You're so nice. You're like a warm cinnamon roll on a nice fall afternoon with a big pot of sugar and honey. Give me some more, Papa. So that concludes our podcast episode for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll catch you later when we zuck it up. Goodbye. Mothertrucker!